My name is Alex Coburn. I'm an anthropologist, safari guide, and wilderness explorer. With a habit for getting into some unusual situations.
Fashion bar, Jeff?
Yeah, sure.
I've never been more uncomfortable in my life.
I wish I was somewhere warm.
Fueled by a passion for wildlife, I search the world for conservation solutions. Because if you don't believe in climate change, you.
Best of luck to you.
It smells earthy and grassy. And on this adventure, you're part of the team too.
I'm not even gonna finish sure. I'm just gonna shove this in my mouth.
It's so green and lush.
Salmona Shivers?
What the hell is happening?
This is nuts!
So let's go save the world. Hey there, everybody. Happy holidays, or whatever it is you celebrate. Just waiting to see who's coming through the door here and to make sure that everything's all connected the way it should be. Although this is misguided. You know, half the time it never works anyway, so that's the fun of it. At any rate, very excited to see you all here. Those of you joining us just now. I'm going to double check my cameras. There we go. Bam. I think that's fine. Anyway, welcome, welcome. If you're already here in the audience, let me know you're there. First off, it's always nice to know, like, oh, there's like actual people out there, and I'm not just basically talking to my phone in the middle of nowhere. But at any rate, today we're in sunny Sonoma, and we're about to go on kind of a whirlabout crazy history tour / Grinch-like fused, complaining about winter, also questioning holidays. It's going to be great. Bear with me. If you're watching this in post later, you can skip to all the good parts. We'll put them down below. If you're not watching it in post, I'm sorry, you have to deal with the whole thing right now. Looks like we've got Victoria, Michelle, and Zachary all with us. You appeared from nowhere. Hello to Sedona. I wish I were in Sedona. Do they get much snow there? I've only been once, and the red rocks are absolutely gorgeous. But if there's snow, that's kind of the point of today. Snow is less good. We don't want to deal with that. In fact, yesterday, I was up in the Sierras, up in Lassen Volcanic National Park, and there was about waist-deep snow, and I'm 6'1", so that's, a little over 2.5 feet, 3 feet of snow. Less good. Not into it. That's part of why I like living here in Sonoma for now, is it doesn't usually get snow, although very rarely we get snow. Basically today, I thought, how fun would it be to go on this crazy whirlwind tour of the history of Sonoma, look at the impact of tourism, because if you didn't notice behind us, it's a busy day here in Sonoma. Now, granted, we're a week out from Christmas, but there's a lot going on. Sometimes they get snow in Sonoma. Okay, so that's... I'm trying to think, like, is that I want to go there? Well, heck, it's Sedona. I love Sedona. I'm just trying to avoid cold places. Snowy, well, not cold, but snowy places in particular. And again, it doesn't snow here much here in Sonoma, which is part of why I like living here. Your mouth doesn't match the words. Well, that's probably due to a few things. It's either due to the latency issue with the camera. It's due to the fact that the camera itself is maybe giving us some challenges. Or an unknown. We'll figure it out as we go. This is misguided. Don't you worry about it. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you're all prepared for this crazy whirlwind that we're going to cover. So if you've never been to Sonoma, California, it is the site of the Bear Flag Revolt. So basically a bunch of dudes showed up and started the state of California. But that's to come a little bit later here in the stream. First off, I'd like to just kind of mentally rewind time a little bit and picture this exact landscape 10,000 years ago, maybe let's go 15,000, 20,000, whatever, years ago. Now, this would have been a marsh, first off. So none of these cars around us would have been nice and quiet and basically surrounded by different types of grass. And right now, in the winter, when the rains are prevalent, there would have been kind of tide pool-esque marshlands all through here, filtering out to the San Francisco Bay, which is just down the road a little ways. I think that's pretty cool, and the fact that the city's here is no accident. People build where there's water. But I kind of wanted to walk through why did people settle here? What does the city of Sonoma look like today? What did it look like in antiquity? And maybe where can we expect to go in the future? Because one thing's for sure, people like wine, and they're going to keep coming here. This is part of the heart of wine country. Just next door is Napa Valley. Sonoma Valley rivals it for its wine production, although I know nothing about wine, so people will probably challenge me on that. You guys got 2 feet of snow last year in Sedona. That's absolutely insane. I also kind of wanted to take today and just complain about wintertime. I hate wintertime, first off. I don't like the snow. I don't like the ice. If I could perpetually live in summer, that's the goal. I'm trying to make it the reality by hosting safaris in the southern hemisphere when it's their summer and then returning to the northern hemisphere when it's our summer. So get the best of, get it, both worlds. But I love it. No, at any rate, today we're trying to not think about winter. We're also trying to think about the impacts of tourism and take a quick tour of Sonoma to figure that out. So I'm just waiting to see who else is joining us. Love it that you guys are here so far. I just want to make sure people don't miss the good stuff because we're about to get into the good stuff. We also have guest appearances today from Lynette and Safari Steve. It's been a while since we've heard from Safari Steve. And Michelle, kind of visually your neck of the woods where Safari Steve is going to be today. So we're excited to have him on the show with us as well. But for now, I'm going to send you guys off to a quick break so we can re-kit, or not, hold on, wait a second. Re-kit as we go on our whirlwind tour of the history of Sonoma. So again, visualize this landscape 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 years ago. Beautiful marsh, tide pools everywhere. Well, not tide pools per se, but you get the drift. The indigenous North Americans were the first people to settle this area. And where we are right now is more or less claimed by 3 tribes. You have the Miwok, the Pomo, and the Wapo, who all had claims to this specific area. But where we are right now probably was a little bit more Wapo influenced. Today their range is kind of the southern half of Napa Valley. The Pomo range is pretty much all of Sonoma up into Mendocino, and Miwok is humongous in terms of territory. It covers the North San Francisco Bay, the East San Francisco Bay, all the way up to the Low Sierras and Yosemite Valley. So their range is absolutely massive. But these were the first peoples that settled here and lived here and began to habitate this area. And they were highly nomadic. Much like me, they didn't dig the cold weather. They would move seasonally to where there were foods available and less uncomfortable conditions. Okay, so here's the plan. Now that we're all set to go, we're going to continue this theme of history. We're going to take a quick break just so we can reset. And then we're going to try to take this puppy mobile and move around. So don't go away. There it goes. Audio is always an issue on this show for some reason. Welcome back from Kenya, where we sent you guys off to. It's busy here. Like I said, tourism grows and grows and grows. Now, if Rachel would just pan over that way real quick, without completely breaking off all the cables that we are tethered to, that is the Visitor Center and Bureau. That's kind of the reason this place is so prolific, should we use that word, in terms of tourism. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, if you look around today, this is as busy as I've seen it in a good minute. But they're all here because they love wine and they love the beautiful scenery, which can't really blame them. Also, guess what? It doesn't snow here, which is abundantly better than where it does snow. But if we go this way, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Now, we started off this adventure at about 20,000 years into the past. Also, if Rachel would just quickly pan down, I want to introduce a new character on our show. Rachel, let's show the people what we're working with today. Show them this.
Oh. Well done.
We call this the Pioneer. This is our first attempt at being fully mobile on the ground. I realize, though, that basically all that has is a battery, and I could have just worn a backpack. But you know what? It's fine. Let's go. And we are tethered together, so excuse the awkward angles and shots, because I can only really go as far as the battery cord allows me to. But if we envision this place about 20,000 years ago, again, completely different landscape. Mentally, get rid of all the buildings, all the cars, all the people. Well, not all the people. You need some of the people. You need which group? Let's see who remembers. Which group lived here in Sonoma between 10 and 20,000 years ago? Actually, ooh, I'll just go backwards. I haven't done the backwards walk in so long. This is incredible. Just let me know if I'm going to hit a person or a dog or I don't know.
They have to go around.
Oh, still waiting to see who remembers which indigenous group lived here between 10 and 20,000 years ago. I'll give you a minute. I know it's latency issues. We're dealing with mouth not matching the words issues. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here, but we'll figure it out. Also,
Oh my god, you really did put a battery in there.
oh, there it goes. We're good now. So now the camera froze. Why? Can you unplug that one and then plug it back in?
This guy?
Yeah.
Well, if that isn't a millennial way to fix it.
Okay.
That's how we were trying to solve problems.
Camera's on. Battery's on. Let's just maybe walk slower. Maybe that was a problem. Okay, we're back. That's like a Seinfeld moment. And we're back. We'll just go really slow. If you can't tell, I had quite a lot of coffee before this, so working through that still. Beautiful, I love it. Also, totally just walking down the street with a camera and a giant microphone. Ego much?
In a car.
And a cart and two other people. And
Real official.
yeah, this is crazy, guys. Let's continue on here. So groups did live here, but the Wapo were a little more specific to the Sonoma area. So let's flash forward in time. We're going from 20,000 years ago to right around, let's just call it the year 1800. Yeah, you guys good with that? Year 1800?
Yes.
Does that work for everybody?
1802.
All right, guys, so obviously it's getting a bit busy here, a bit crowded, but we're in May of 1802 now. Oh, my words match now. That's excellent. I'm glad we fixed these technical issues on the fly. May of 18... Not 1802. Well done in the bonus points. No, July of 1823, so we've jumped about 20 years. And if that's what we're here to see first off. Actually, no, not specifically. Who wants to see the oldest building in Sonoma? Show of hands. I can't raise mine because I'm holding too many things. Rachel raised her hand, thank you. One person. Who out there in the audience wants to see the oldest building in Sonoma?
I was going to vote for the different shot. I was really excited about that.
Nope. Can't put that there, never mind. Oldest building in Sonoma. I think there's a latency issue, so we're going to turn them into Spanish citizens and then have a whole new Spanish town. It's going to be great. We'll grow the empire that way. Didn't quite work out the way they were hoping, but that's a whole nother set of story. Also, it's really dark history to get into, and talking about indigenous people, it's completely stripped rights and their personhood and their identity. But again, don't worry about it. We're going to get to that here in just a little bit. For now, oldest building in Sonoma is just behind me. This building is fantastic. It was one of the first we have. You can still see the adobe or the mud plaster that this building is constructed with. Now, Rachel, just get in. Let's shuffle across so these people can get by us. And I want to show you guys something that I think
Across
is...
the street?
No, just here.
Oh, okay.
I want to show you guys something that I think at least is kind of special about this building. I'm trying to figure out where to put all my stuff. They're beautiful. Look at this. We're figuring this out as we go, guys. Let's also check in with the audience, check in with the stream quality. You keep freezing. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure why it's doing that. And the quality looks terrible, to be honest. Huh. Let's see what we get. Perfect. No, you're good. I'm talking. Thinking out loud. I don't know what its deal is. I have that all turned down.
This is one of those haunted
blue
buildings.
It's one of the many, many haunted buildings of Sonoma. Alex tell you all about them. Everyone who's listening. Because it annoys him. They're not ghosts, you guys.
No, it is pretty wild that we're here and like it refuses to work.
I think it is.
I think it's getting better. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to figure out why this isn't working the way it should. It's having connectivity issues, so I'm trying to adjust the amount of output that I'm giving it to maybe make it work a little bit better. And it slowly says that it's working better. It's called dropped frames. We're dropping fewer frames. Wow, that's still crazy though. Hopefully that's a little bit better. I don't know. I think, can I borrow your phone?
Yeah.
Multitask.
We're just checking service.
No, I was gonna check the YouTube. If anybody's still out there, let me know what you're seeing.
Just occurred to me we've been standing outside of this particular car for a while.
Because we're here to break into it.
I know.
So suspicious.
Near duels and almost matching
Duel.
outfits.
Yeah. Suspicious. Green.
Yeah.
Brown.
They look like they're about to go apple picking in Washington.
All right, it's coming back a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, we're just delayed. It's
Yeah,
on
well,
a
that's
delay.
normal.
Okay.
That's latency.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Oh.
it's coming through a lot cleaner now. Great. That was wild. I don't know what happened there. We're going to have to
Magic.
post-assess this later. Anyway, where were we? We were in the middle of... Oh, yeah, let me bring this back up. Let's get back to the good stuff here. We were looking at this graffiti mark, 1939, Pete Danny, Ross, Marin County, California. I got really curious, who the hell was this, and why was he here? And it turns out he died in World War II a few years later. He's POW, or not POW, he's, what is it when they're missing? MIA? No. Yeah, MIA.
MIA, yeah.
Him missing in action, so body never recovered. As far as we know, we don't even know how he died, really. I can't remember the battle in particular that he passed in. But I just thought, what a cool way to, remember someone. He left his autograph, basically, here in 1939. So a few years ago, I reached out through Ancestry.com to the family that he still has. And they were thrilled to even just get that picture of his handwriting. Because he's been missing in the Pacific for, 80-some years now? Long time. Anyway, we're jumping around time quite a lot. Passing vehicles. I'm going to grab this back. Let's see if we can move now and not completely destroy this. Okay, I'm like, okay, it's working, but what if we move?
Okay, well, tell us the direction ahead of time.
We're gonna go that
That way.
Yeah.
We're all turning
We're going
right.
to turn this cruise ship that way. So the building itself, again, is from the 1820s and 30s. but it serviced the mission across the street. So we're going to turn our cruise ship. Here we go. It's amazing to me that this technology worked in Africa, no problem. Here, every problem imaginable. Okay. I love it.
Go.
We're figuring this out on the fly. Anyway, so where was I on my timeline? Oh, 1820s, 30s, 40s. So long, I just was like, what's happening? Long about mid-1830s, a dude named Mariano Vallejo shows up, and I have his picture here somewhere. Here he is. Look at those mutton chops. He's fantastic. Look at that. Dude knew how to live.
Those are some chops.
Some chops,
They
man.
look like the Nike symbol.
He shows up, and he's a member of the Mexican military initially. People here call him the general today, and he never held that rank. This really bothers me, actually, that people call him that. I've taken this personal umbrage against everyone for this one particular label. I can't remember his specific rank because it's been a while since I've talked about it. But the dude was in charge of immigration for the area. So that meant that any new settlers who weren't Mexican he had to deal with and work with to get settled in the Sonoma area. Now this is after numerous conquests of the indigenous people. And again, the mission here basically forcibly turned those people into Spanish citizens. But after the fall of the Spanish control of this area to the newly formed Mexican country, people like Mariano Vallejo were responsible for settling all of the Mexican territories. And California, where we are, is pretty well out of the way. No one was, which is the Sonoma Barracks. Now this sounds big and official, but he never really had that many troops here. He, in fact, had about 20 at most, which I always find really funny, that effectively his armed fighting force was 20 kind of drunk young guys. Let me just check our signal, because now I'm panicked. I think it's getting better with time. Yeah. Slowly. Anyway, we're going to cross this zebra crossing, a little bit more familiar language for me, and get a better angle at this, because a little bit later in time something else happens here, because this city's packed with historic moments. Nobody hit us.
I know. I felt like if that lady had been turning left, she totally would have. She was so done.
We're talking about history. We're too special to be hit by a car. We're invincible because we're talking about history.
Well, and a live stream.
And we're live streaming, so we would all have evidence. 1846 territories. So he assigns a guy called John C. Fremont on an expedition. Now they label this a scientific expedition, but really no such luck. This was a mission specifically to conquest new territory. So check out this rock. Oh, we can't walk. Can we? Maybe.
We can, yes. Survey says.
Survey says yes. This rock marks roughly the spot where an armed militant takeover of the Mexican-held Californian territory occurred. June 14th, 1846. The bear flaggers show up. Now, if you've seen the California state flag, you may wonder why it has a grizzly bear on it. It's a copy of the flag that was erected here at the barracks for the first time. And in those days, this area looked kind of like this. Here, I'll show you. Bam. So for reference, the big watchtower in the middle, we're kind of in front of that right now. And just to its right is the barracks, and just to its right is the mission. And the plaza was more or less kind of developed, although this is a fanciful version of what that looked like. The watchtower, we don't really know if there was. Like, people say there was, but I don't know. Also, it's like, probably not. Who cares? The bear flaggers show up to this spot and then forcibly, thank you, take over. It's not really much of a job governing the territory. So he more or less says, you know what, I'm going to get these guys even drunker so they're not as dangerous. Let's just think about that. I'm going to get these armed, militant, crazy fanatics drunker so they're not as dangerous. It worked. They all fell asleep. In his house, Casa Grande, which would have been over there, is gone now. It burned down in the 1860s. Womp womp. But it worked. This whole territory became part of the United States more officially. It became a U.S. territory And then in roughly 1850, it became a state. And if you've seen the movie Zorro, they do a terrible job telling you all of this information. How are we feeling?
Dancing. It's really good.
There was dancing?
In Zorro?
Oh,
Yeah.
was there?
It was great.
I was more angry about the history.
I love that movie.
All right, guys, I hope the stream has come through a little bit cleaner now when that happened, for sure. At any rate, we're also here to think about tourism and wintertime, which I've well established I'm not a huge fan of. Somebody that also isn't a fan of winter is Safari Steve. And recently we were out on an expedition with Steve to a place that's a little bit warmer. So I'll pass my mic over for a second. Place that he's very fond of. So I'm going to send you off with Safari Steve. We'll see you in a minute.
Sabona campers, and welcome! Safari Steve here on another whirlwind adventure here in Joshua Tree National Park. We have scenic landscapes, diverse ecosystems, and biological hotspots. As a self-proclaimed master guide, and a fish eagle scout, and a 4x4 enthusiast, it is my sole purpose to get you off the sofa and into the wild. Let's go! We got a real treat for you lined up today. We're out here. Joshua trees, also known as Yucca brevifolia, as I prefer to call it, is a tree-like species found out here in the Southwest deserts. Don't get it confused though. They're tree-like, not actual trees. Big difference. These plants are known by their common names. Joshua tree, palm yucca, tree yucca, yucca palm, or my personal favorite, plain old Josh. But as an endangered species, this rarely seen desert gem is disappearing quickly, being commonly known as the ghost of the desert. As our planet gets more heavier, the water and the habitats these superstars need are drying. Where are you? I'm coming for you, Joshua! Let's do this! I knew it was you, Josh. It's full of thousands of tiny colonies of bacteria like algae and fungi. Fascinating.
Hello there.
It's simply sedimentary, my dear Watson. This is what we call a wash. An area where water will flow through and crash into the desert, quenching its thirst. Water, or agua as I call it, is the most precious resource in this scorched environment. The plants and the animals that survive out here have adapted for millions of years to conserve water so they really can get the best bang for their hydro buck, because they never know when they're gonna get their next drink. Joshua trees like this one here can extend their roots down to 10 meters, or 30 feet for you all stuck in the imperial system, to quench their stoic thirst. Speaking of which, it's time for my 1037 sip! Cryptobiotic crust. Why?
Something for later.
What's he doing?
I don't know. Anyway.
You're not my Josh. Not my Josh. I'm coming, Josh. Nope.
No.
Damn you, Joshua. So hot. You're doing this to me, son. No water. No food. I'm a daughter.
Many hours later.
I have splinters. My fingers. I have 6 fingers. And 2 thumbs. Thank you, son.
No, I think, honestly, we're going to be right on schedule. We've got pretty much everything already in the can. Yeah, no, we're right on schedule. I'm not super worried about it at all.
Rochambeau, loser goes and gets him.
Can I call you back? Yes, like that low. Welcome back, everybody. We're dealing with all kinds of weird gremlins and strange issues, and to be honest, I don't know what's going on. The fact that we could do this in Africa and have it be fine is amazing, because we're what 30 miles from San Francisco. and terrible. Like, we have a 5G signal. It's awful. We'll figure this out with Rob Pickett. Welcome.
Hi guys, how's it going?
What's your official title?
I am the supervising state park ranger here, or it's like state park peace officer, supervisor, or supervising ranger, whatever you want to call it.
With the state parks. Now, how long have you been with parks?
21 years in October.
21 years, wow.
Yeah.
It's a good long time.
It's a good career so far, yeah.
And what first drew you to it? Because today we're trying to get into history and nature. We're also thinking about tourism. So I take it you've probably dealt a lot with tourism over 21 years.
Yeah.
What first drew you to that? Because that's not a call for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I like the outdoors, I liked hiking, and also I was trying to look into law enforcement. I tried different agencies like Simi Valley Police. I would do the written and the oral and usually pass that, or no, written and physical agility, but sometimes I get shot down in the oral. Anyways, this opportunity came up to where I could be outdoors and work for parks and be like law enforcement. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, and just went for it and got it, and been to 3 different parks in my career, and I've been in this one now for 7 years.
And how are the parks different from each other? Because I know that you haven't always been at a historic park.
Right. So with California state parks, there's 280 state parks, and the diversity is just crazy. You got redwood forest, you've got deserts, you've got lakes, you've got beaches, you've got historical structures. So yeah, my first park was in the Mojave Desert at Red Rock Canyon, which is a really cool place. Yeah. So that's like a desert, right? And then after that, you're like, oh yeah, there's state vehicular recreation 7 years. So that right there can kind of tell you, like, you can be in a desert. I mean, Hungry Valley's kind of like a desert too, but it's this off-road place with camping, jeeps, trucks, quads, dirt bikes, all that stuff too. And then, or you get these little historical areas too. So the diversity's all over the place. You could stay at one park your whole career, or you could jump around. You could jump like every year or two. So if you did a 30-year career, I mean, in theory, you could be at a lot of different parks. Like, you have to be at the first one for a couple years, but after that, you can jump like every year. So 28 parks maybe you could be at in theory.
Have you noticed that people nerds wanting to go out and tear it up on an ATV?
Yeah, I think that's a rhetorical question. Yeah.
But how is dealing with that different? Like, what skills do you have to employ?
That's a good point, because here it's definitely more political and more sensitive.
Sure.
You have the Native American aspect at the mission, and then whereas if it's off-roading, it's just like, do whatever you want. And there seem to be certain all over the world that come to Sonoma to come see this town, to come see these historical sites. Because it's fairly local to those off-road areas. Maybe people come an hour or two away with their toy haulers and everything, out of like Bakersfield, LA. That's who was kind of coming to the off-road area. But here, people they'll come from all over.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier
about that. It's just an alarm.
No worries. The wine industry is such a draw.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it of people are out here, slogging down wine all day and then wandering through a museum like this. We've been trying to get into
on it. You have the wine tasting element to it. You have the history, because I mean, let's face it. Like, this is where California history began. You got the California Bear Flag here that was kind of founded here because of the Bear Flag Revolt, and then General Vallejo and how he influenced this area. So that's a big factor here. Like, all of our parks seem to have touched by General Vallejo in one way or another. Like, so that's a draw. I don't know. It's kind of has that small town effect, like, or atmosphere to it. Yeah. Even though it's like 2021, you're in this town and you're like, I don't know what year it is really, or it could be, because it doesn't really seem futuristic.
With
it's
all
just
these
like small town
old
America.
buildings, and the plaza being the way it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think that helps.
Now, obviously this is different because all of that is here, and so there's a lot of volume of people. But if you're looking at a natural park, you almost don't. In your experience, is that a valuable tool, or how do you manage, let's say, a park like Bryce, where you have just so many people wanting to come visit, or Yellowstone, or can you love a park to death?
That's a good question. I mean, those national parks, like I've been to Grand Canyon, and it's busy. The price at the time was like $20 a car, but it's probably gone way up from that. In Yosemite, you already mentioned. I think they could get over visited. I don't know if a reservation system might be the way to go to only let a certain amount of people in. Because I know I worked a little bit at Pismo Beach, it's another off-road area. It's called Oceano Dunes, and they would only let like critters and like coming up like snowy plovers and endangered bird in that area. So all this had to be considered. So they say, well, we'll just put a cap on how many vehicles can be there, and that's kind of how they did that area. So that might be a way to doing it. yeah, it seems like national parks are even more of a draw for people from all over the world than state parks. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could love it too much to death, but what are you going to do? People
Sure.
want to see it, and we're here to show it to them too, right?
Sure.
So I don't know if I've ever been in the mindset of like not wanting enough people there, except that, you know, like, yes, on busy holiday weekends, you're like, oh, there's too many people here. Like, we're getting swamped with calls for enforcement, calls for medicals.
Right.
And so, okay. So in my head, maybe I was like, oh, there's too many people here. But in the end, that's what we're here for. And then we didn't have a cap on it at Hungry Valley. So whoever came in. There was no gates, so they came in all night. And, you know, there's a funny joke that there's a speed limit on the way into parks, but there's no speed limit on the way out.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny
I love
saying.
it.
Yeah.
I've noticed in African travels that the management style in parks, official like national parks, is much more about keeping people like, hey, you're the one who's responsible solely for your own well-being. At night, for example, everyone has to be in a camp, and there's just very little tolerance for, I'm not sure what word to use. Can we go with weird behavior, strange behavior, bad behavior? I could use other words, but we shouldn't.
Appreciate you. Yeah. This is a family show. There's kids.
Yeah, allegedly. It's a whoever show. Also, I just can't ignore it. I think today's some kind of Santa thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's been like 8 or 10 Santa
I
Clauses
think
that
they
have
go
walked by.
and they like sample drinks or something. I forget what
fun.
it's called. They go from bar to bar and dressed in Santa gear and do that. I think I remember that happening.
That's really good
And you might be
timing.
able to pull that off with that hat on. Join
I'm
in.
the Grinch in green.
Kind of hoping you wouldn't acknowledge it at all.
I can't. No.
Just go by and never say anything.
There's a very drunk naughty elf over there. Okay.
But so like here, you know, we have the police nearby, so they take care of any policing in the park at night.
Sure.
You know, the park's closed by 5, but we still have parking lots. The public can walk through this area, and so if there's anything going on weird, then
Sure.
the police have to do it for us because we're just not around.
Well, I guess I was getting at, like, I've even noticed that, let's say a walkway is unsafe, or there's like
Maintenance issues?
safety things, maybe maintenance issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. The attitude there seems to be, hey, figure it out, man. Whereas
Wow.
here, I feel like there's so much more proactive measure put into things.
Yeah.
What?
That's interesting. Do you think it's like a lawsuit type thing? Like people are kind of like,
I
there's a
imagine
lot
here,
of,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like based on the area, it could be determined by, well, there's too much liability here, we better fix this, or
Yeah.
close it off if we can't fix it right away. So it's just more sensitive, like hypersensitive to that. I
Right.
think.
And is that deliberate, though? Is that part of just the mindset here, is that let's be proactive?
Yeah, so like my staff and me, we know to make a maintenance work request when something's wrong. If there's like a tripping hazard or something's old and looks like it's going to break or something, or is broke, to give that to our maintenance employees, our maintenance chief, and then he will delegate to his staff who to have it fixed. I'm sure you wrote a few when
probably
you
did.
when you were here. So that's kind of what goes on around here. Yeah, and you know I was going to talk about in terms of enforcement or like weird stuff happening at Hungry Valley. We were on pretty late, but then after that it fell to the sheriffs or CHP to come in if there was like rowdiness in the campgrounds at night, drunk driving. People would drink and then get on their bikes and quads and Jeeps and just go out and off-road hammered. And so then that would cause accidents or someone might get hurt or hit in the campground. And then there'd be just people arriving late and putting on loud music in the campground
Ooh,
while
yeah,
everyone else is
that's
trying
annoying.
to sleep and everything. And so we'd have to go out in the middle of the night and go out and that on call-outs, like law enforcement call-outs for that.
Is that a
So-
DUI if you're drunk?
It is. It
On a
actually is
trail?
the same
Yeah.
exact
Wow. That's good to
penalties.
know.
Yeah.
Not that I was
don't
planning
think people
to test
do
it,
know
but-
that. Yeah. And lots of people don't know that if you have a suspended license, driver's license, you're not allowed to be on bikes and quads. And they're like,
What?
"Well, I'm in the dirt. What's the big deal?" It's like, but you're suspended from any motor vehicle. You're being punished right now. So
Because
they
the only
can't
exception would be what, like private property?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, you heard it here first. You will get a DUI on an ATV if you're drunk
Or
in a
dirt
park.
bike or whatever.
yeah, a motor
Side by
vehicle.
side, those little Polaris razors, any of that stuff.
Horse?
Probably. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know about that. That's a good question.
Is that a RUI, like a riding under the influence?
Yeah, might be something. There's biking, right? Bicycling under the influence, I think. It may not
They
be.
count it as a vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that makes sense, though. Argument that the horse is arguably smarter than the rider
Yeah.
in some cases.
Yeah.
The horse didn't get on a drunk horse and try to ride through a park. No idea what's going on today.
Okay.
We'll have a rigorous post-mortem on this one. That's for sure.
Tech inspection.
Yeah.
Tech debrief.
We don't want to keep you too long. I know we're out just randomly here on the street, and
Yeah.
this is fun and loose on Misguided, as always. We're going to take it away to a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have Lynette with us, and she's got a special guest, as usual. So don't go away. Please bear with the weird technical bugs. I'm sure this looks great. I can't see it, so I don't know. But we'll be back here in just a minute.
There's a orangutan in my bedroom and I don't know what to do. She plays with all my teddies and keeps borrowing my shoe. She destroys all of my houseplants and she keeps on shouting, ooh. She throws away my chocolate and she howls at my shampoo. There's a orangutan in my bedroom and I don't want her to stay. So I told the naughty orangutan that she had to go away. Orangutan in my bedroom, just before you go, why were you in my bedroom? I really want to know. There's a human in my forest and I don't know what to do. He destroyed all of our trees for your food and your shampoo. There's a human in my forest and I don't know what to do. He took away my mother and I'm scared he'll take me too. There are humans in my forest and I don't know what to do. They're burning it for palm oil. So I thought I'd stay with you. Orangutan in my bedroom, now I do know what to do. I'll fight to save your home and I'll stop you feeling blue. I'll share your story far and wide so others can fight too. Orangutan in my bedroom, I swear it on the stars. The future's not yet written, but I'll make sure it is ours.
Coming here with my family was really a dream come true. The park has offered what I expected. There's wildlife all over the place. Seeing the wildebeest migration with my children and looking at their face and the excitement is something that is priceless. East Africa is known for the mammal, and kids looking at what they've seen here in Serengeti and comparing to what they've seen on TV and really increasing their attention and experiences in their relationship with wildlife has been something I would like to bottle and keep forever.
My name is Lynn, and I want to star in a movie. Why is that artichoke talking? I'm a pangolin, which basically means my tongue is longer than my body, and I'm pretty much per bowling ball. But the pangolin pièce de résistance? We're the only mammals with scales. Pretty neat, huh? Poachers think so, too. You see, people use us for traditional medicine and leather boots. The situation is critical. Averaging about 100,000 goodbyes a year. I have to do something. I have to star in a movie. If I become famous, pangolins will become famous. People will notice us and finally care about us. So guys, help my species become known. In Hollywood, let me star in a movie. Please!
Exciting stuff.
All right, we're back, folks. We're barely hanging in there today, which is crazy because we're so close to the city and we've got awesome cell coverage, and
Supposedly.
yet the technology doesn't seem to be working. We've got Lynette. Hello, Lynette.
Guys, I'm excited to be back. I was nervous because I didn't have anything prepared. Where he's like, oh, we're going to talk now. But I do know that behind... Huh?
Don't beat it.
Don't
beat a dead horse.
Don't beat it, don't feed it. It's
Watch out, you've got
useless.
Curb coming up.
I don't know what's happening today. I never know what's happening.
That's kind of
like
how
our
we live our
motto.
life.
Yeah. So your whole thing on the bench, you're like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. You were having a meltdown, rocking back and forth. Like, I don't know if it's working, if it's not.
At least though, like remember so we have kind of a weird tradition now, coming out here at Christmas time and doing weird videos on the plaza. At least though, this isn't like the one where we were trying to film a video about a primate, but like COVID was definitely already here.
Yeah.
And we were all like horribly ill. Remember?
Yeah, well, so...
You were dead.
I was dying. You can... Maybe it was early January.
Nope, we're good.
It was early January or late December of 2019, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all of us were very, 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 very sick. But we didn't know any better.
All right, now what do we want to do here? Hood or back or?
We'll do the hood because it says Jeep and it's khaki colored.
I love it.
Yeah.
Match with your pants.
Wait, oh, I almost grabbed Chewy. I was like, it's not the animal we talked about.
No. So Lynette works with wildlife. Her family has a ranch up in the hill there, and they work with all capacity of wildlife. But one of the things she does is she does a lot of school programs where she'll go out and introduce kids to all kinds of animals. And she's brought one with her today that we thought was a little Christmassy. No, we didn't. We just picked one, and here we are. Who is this?
The best skunk ever. You want to say hi? She's like... I wonder if you can hear that.
Come around front here. Let's get her face. All the sniffs.
You sniffed that? She's like, no, I'm taking a nap. Go away.
Why would you bother me? Now, up till recently, weren't these mustelids, and now they're not?
Yeah, so I think that changed. It changed less than a decade ago.
Okay.
So
up till recently.
Yeah, Alex and I were like, we get very upset about taxonomy, which is the classification and identification of animals, because it changes all the time. My cart's leaving.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. It changes all the time. So skunks used to be considered mustelids, which are like otters. Ferrets are still ferrets. Yes. Pine martens. Help me out though. Ferrets are still mustelids, right?
I don't know them well enough, to be honest.
Oh, okay. We're gonna go with yes.
I don't talk about ferrets normally, so.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a mammal.
Badgers are Good job.
Thank
Alex,
you. I'm very proud of myself.
Slow bar. You cleared it. So skunks used to be related to otters, badgers, weasels, ferrets. Now they are in their own family. Mephididae.
Mephididae. That's fun to say.
It is really fun with a PH.
With the PH. Gotta have the PH.
Mephididae. And it includes skunks, which are found throughout North America. And it also includes one animal in Southeast Asia called the stink badger, which isn't a badger at all. It's a skunk.
That seems like a mean name, the stink badger.
Stink badger. I don't know. Skunk is a pretty...
I like that, though. Stink badger.
Stink badger.
I would name a car the stink badger.
Alex is not allowed to work for Toyota. That'd be a great car, though. Sorry. Wow. I think we have really lost the thread of what we were talking about.
The all-new 2025 stink badger.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I have to be honest, you guys, I tuned out back at 1939 with the guy who died in World War II. So
we're appreciating his memory.
Checked out this whole time, not listening. So Classy is, for any of you gardeners out there, hi, that's my hair.
She's like, no.
A gardener's best friend. And the reason is because they eat all sorts of nasty things that you don't want in your garden. So they eat slugs, they eat snails, tree-eating beetles, rotten fruits and vegetables, baby mice, eggs from other insects. They will also eat yellow jackets in their nests, as well as ticks, thousands of ticks every year. So really just a wonderful little animal to have around your garden.
And I'm sure folks out there want to know, why do you have her?
Why do we have
This is
Classy?
A question you probably get every day.
Yeah, especially because people see that face and they're like, oh, baby, she's so cute.
Because, this is a live show and we're literally like just running through Sonoma, like poorly broadcasting this.
Alex
and
I are going to get arrested someday.
We didn't have time to like set up a nice backdrop for this or like do it. So just visually, for someone just tuning in, this looks sketchy as hell because we're just in a parking lot with a skunk.
I know. We could have been in the back of my car and be like, guys, want to see some animals?
So
I got
please
such a good selection.
provide some context. Michelle, by the way, says she loves the skunk.
Oh, perfect. Well, the thing is, a lot of the animals that you'll see at Lion Ranch, those are rescue animals, so we have to be state and federally licensed to have them. So that means USDA inspects us, Fish and Wildlife inspects us, vets inspect us, and then the animals have to have a reason to be there, whether they're a rescue, whether they are ill or injured, or even if they're just part of our outreach and therapy program. They can't just exist there and not have a purpose. And so that's why she's there. And so any kind of education animal, that even includes the animals that if I post on like social media. And so eventually when these guys do retire, they will still be a part of being an outreach. I know she's just like...
She was digging.
Oh, if you're wondering why she has such long claws, it's because they're diggers. So their claws grow very, very fast, but they're not strong. So they break them regularly.
I turn just a little more. Let's really, get that face.
Look at that
Oh,
face.
just a good face.
And could you shed a little light on what rescue actually means? Is there a definition of that, or is it Fish and Game maybe found her and her mother had gone missing or something like that?
I think there's a pretty broad, definition when it comes to animals and permitting definition to rescue. So it might be that the animal is incapable of surviving on its own in the wild,
right.
Or it's incapable of surviving even at a large zoo facility because it requires one-on-one attention like some of my other animals. Rescue could... I know.
I love this. I love it, and I love that folks are actually here with us watching it. It's a
It's
miracle.
absurdity.
No, it's wonderful absurdity.
It is. No idea.
Sorry, you were
what's
saying?
I don't remember. Oh, rescue. So in her case, she's a rescue because she was very bonded with a sibling who was blind, and they both became dependent on humans. That's how we ended up with her. We've had animals that were born very sick, and they needed that one-on-one attention their entire lives. Some come from hoarding situations or owner deaths. So you never know what the situation's going to be. So it could be a lot of different things. Or illegal pet trade, which does happen.
And Steve Irwin famously said that he'll do it, but it's begrudging. Doesn't want to work with parrots. Do you have an animal that you're like, or a species that you're just like, do I have to?
Like, it's parrots as well, kind of, some of them. But the alligators, honestly.
Okay.
I felt like I'm over it. Everybody's like, oh, that's so cool. They're fine. They don't do a lot. And then, if you mess up, you can get really, really hurt really easily, even with the tiny one. And so it's just not my preference. I like the bones in my hand enough to not want to break them. So
It's probably good, yeah.
yeah. So good times.
Good times.
Are you helping?
Yeah, well, let's get one last good look here at Classy's face. She's adorable. And she's got such a luscious coat to keep her warm.
I know, she's looking so good right now.
Oh, look at that. The claws.
She's got her den box with her sister and her blankies. She's a happy girl. All
You
right,
just
kiddo.
want to boop the snoot. Well, thank you very much, Lynette. We are going to shuffle to that rock over there. And unless anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, additions, I don't know. You guys are supposed to be partly running the show too, so let me know what you want to talk about. We're going to shuffle over to that boulder. That's a nice boulder. And get into a little bit of Christmas baking with Rachel, who's on camera back there. So I think we're going to try to finally get this set down and set up so that way all of us can be in the frame at the same time.
Except me, because I'm leaving.
Lynette's got places to be. I'm not sure if we'll see you again before the holidays, so I don't know which you prefer, so happy all of the holiday.
Happy holidays?
Holidays, yes.
Holidays. Awesome sauce.
I almost went with a Hanukkah theme for this episode, just for fun, but...
I was like, I'm, from an Irish Catholic family, and you're from like a Scottish Catholic family. I feel like Christmas is probably what we grew up saying. So we could do Merry Christmas.
Kwanzaa all the way.
It's like not worried, but I could feel like Merry Christmas is an acceptable.
Merry Christmas.
But happy holidays to everyone else as well. Any holiday you celebrate.
I just love this
Or
visual of
December.
we're just in a parking lot and we're going to go talk about baked goods now and sustainability and tourism, and you're just going to drive away in the background.
You should have seen us with the gin bottle on a beach.
Oh my gosh. We've done so many strange things for weird media,
Yep.
but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes. Okay, guys. Well, good times.
Good luck.
Are you gonna like turn that off for a second?
No, we're gonna shuffle.
Oh, would you like want some help?
Could you shuffle with us?
Yeah.
Let's push the Pioneer.
You don't get to see David then.
We're doing it in the middle of the parking lot.
I don't think we have any other choice. Where else could we go?
Park? No, that's a nice.
The park?
boulder. Well, hold on. If that's the case, I'm gonna close the back of my car.
I think we're good right here.
Okay. Okay. It shouldn't be too loud. That's a nice boulder.
I think this is my favorite episode ever.
Oh right, we're still filming. Still rolling.
Okay, let's
Oh God.
we'll I'm gonna turn around. Beautiful. And then you can put the camera, you can extend its legs and then pull it up. Look at this, we're directing in the moment, guys. It's live. None of this was, well, it was thought out. It just was poorly thought out.
I don't know. The quality is about level with most CW shows. So I think we'll be okay. Do you want to just...
That's good. That's what you want.
I hope that
wasn't obnoxious at all.
That's what you want. All right. The fact that anyone is still watching this is a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a miracle.
Miracle. So one of the things we like to cover on the show is sustainability when we can. Like now we're talking down to the camera. And Rachel was kind enough to make us some, I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know where to put my hands.
Do you want to sit on the boulder?
Actually, yeah. Could you just turn the camera?
Yeah.
How's this for a classy shot? There, we need you. Oh, that's beautiful right there.
Your leg is
It's
like
the
a tree.
It's the table. We like talking about sustainability when we can on the show.
I'm leaving.
Bye, thank you. And Rachel was kind enough to make one of my favorite baked treats. Also, I think a fairly appropriate holiday treat. Rachel, get in here and awkwardly sit on this rock with me.
Okay.
You've been doing so good on the camera today.
Thanks. I'm trying. It's hard when you have tremors, but
She doesn't normally do camera work, so I'm very impressed.
thanks. I'm impressive.
You are impressive. I know this.
I'm trying. So today I made some brownies, but I added a little fun in there. I added some endangered species chocolate. It was caramel, sea salt, and dark chocolate. It's cool because the endangered species chocolate company, they add money to help endangered species and different groups. I think one was like the National Forestry, and I can't read the other ones because
National Forest Foundation, the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund, Peregrine Falcon Fund. And they give you some great info about certain species because they're endangered species. So,
Exactly.
for example, the bald eagle there has a population that's increasing. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Whoa.
Now we lost our camera.
It's great. Don't worry about it.
And these brownies are pretty plain for the most part. Basics, sugar, flour. But I try to do it like the butters, butters.
The butters. That's like a Bill Cosby. The butters.
The butters and the pudding and the... No, I try to include ingredients that are local because that's a bit more sustainable with baking. I mean, it gets expensive sometimes, especially with like different sugar and stuff, but it helps when it's local because it doesn't have to travel far to get to.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about like diet and what's best for the planet, what you should be eating, and I mean really that's up to you individually, but arguably the best thing you can do is eat things that are local to your area and in season would be the most ideal.
Yeah.
So of course with this there's a bit of a stretch with the chocolate and
always
cacao.
in season. No,
It's always in season. There are some stretches that
yeah,
are taken because
of
I think
course.
the fact that we live in a globalized world,
Yeah.
the reality of everything being local,
Yeah.
That almost goes against humanity, wouldn't you say? Because part of being human is the desire to go over the next hill, the desire to trade with other groups. Kind of like the History Whirlwind Tour that we tried to cover today, where you have different waves of people that move here for similar reasons. There's resources, there's good ports to be able to trade from. Really, we're all just kind of living out the same reality that every human ever has ever lived. All summarized eloquently in this lovely brownie.
Yeah.
But I think the advantage we have today is knowing the impact of our decisions.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like I love that Rachel goes out of her way to use things like the endangered species chocolate. I mean, it's killer, and the info they give you, and just the nugget of information, it goes light years, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to just, I mean, even if you're doing little bits, like buying endangered species chocolate rather than a Hershey's bar, it all helps. Some other brownies that we were potentially going to bake, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
I don't.
Or we take.
Let's just forget about it.
We brought a jet boil, and I was going to potentially steam a brownie with water in the jet boil, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We're barely hanging on.
That was a long stretch. It would take 20 minutes just to bake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's not do that for the sake of the fact that there's people watching this. And I'm sure they have better things to be doing, but I'm sure that, well, I'm also appreciative that they're here and watch the show at all.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Christmas treat to make?
Here's a close-up of the brownies.
Whoa. I won't lose the goods.
I won't lose these. I'll just pick
that
them
was
up
a
off
quick,
the
I
ground.
won't lose these.
Sorry, what
I'll
was
pick
my...
them up off the ground.
But they're too easy.
Too easy. You need something complicated.
Like this... Yeah, I'm trying to perfect the Swiss roll. So this year I'm going for 2 different Swiss rolls. Oh. I'm going to be making a red velvet Swiss roll
So the Elvis.
For one Christmas.
The
and
Elvis.
then Elvis. And then for the other Christmas, I'm making a peppermint chocolate Swiss roll. So
what was it
we'll
called?
See. A Swiss roll? It's kind of
No, a pepper.
Oh, chocolate peppermint Swiss roll.
Oh, I thought you had some fun title for it. Pepper Rocket or
Pepper Rocket. That doesn't sound too good. I don't think I want a pepper rocket.
Hey, I'll try anything once. Why not?
Yeah, okay. They crack, and that's dumb.
They crack, and that's dumb. Quote. Seal. Well, let's give the brownie a go.
All right.
You pick.
I hope there's no eggshells in here.
There's no. That's very comforting before we are about
Good
to
luck.
eat. All right, guys. One close-up view of said brownie. They look delicious. They smell delicious. They're made with as many local ingredients as we possibly can, and the few that we can't have come from pretty reliable resources. Let's see. It's great.
Just can't really taste the caramel.
That's all right. Caramel's overrated. Tastes like the holiday season. Also, just the fact that we're out here in shorts and, well, I'm out here in shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah,
fast.
100%.
You see that?
No snow, please.
I knew I loved you.
I love you too.
All right, folks. Well, that was the show. We barely held on. We covered this a lot. The issue was the tech and the fact that I had to pretty much do all the roles here in one go.
Yeah.
Future won't quite look like that. I'm very pleased to say in 2022, Misguided is going to take on a new persona, a new feel. It's going to be more travel-based, and we're going to be out in the field doing quite a lot more. We're going to be visiting museums, national parks, laboratories. We're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of our planet and trying to find the adventure along the way. So this kind of ends Misguided 1.0 and starts Misguided 2.0. And the very first bug we got to figure out is this signal thing, because this did not work the way it was supposed to. My problem, not yours. At the very least, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas season, holiday season, whatever it is that you choose to celebrate or participate in, and a very happy new year. We'll see you in January, where we're going to be doing a bit of a history throwback from me. We're going to be visiting my roots in terms of, people ask a lot, how the heck did you get into this kind of work or this line of work? And we're going to go figure that out at the very first place that I started working out with wildlife. More to come on that a little bit later. Thank you all so much for putting up with the show.